Okay, I guess we can start right now. So, hello everyone, and welcome to this session of Android Study Jams organized by DSC CET and DSC UCK. We have with us our speaker again, Mr. Vishnu Haridas, who will be continuing from yesterday's session with a hands-on project. Sir, over to you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Andy. So let's start. Let me share my screen first. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay, so just release yesterday what happened. Yesterday we had an app that will list a few buttons. This particular app, we were actually doing this. We had one main which has been displayed on the screen. Then we added 3 buttons, and there is hello world example which were actually showing the showing a message to the user. Like if we give a name, it will just show the message. So we then did a calculator. So I improved that calculator by adding more buttons, and I added minus button there, and added a equal button which is having height of 2 separate buttons. So this equal button is having linked to the constraint to the top of the 0 and bottom of the plus or minus button, and a clear button below, and update the color and logic to show the operator as well. So I will share this source code with you. You can actually go through and you can try adding 2 new operators, division and multiplication there. I will share the link at the end of this session. Okay, and yeah, so that's it. Then our next item is to include a movie recommendation app. So movie recommendation screen. So we will have to add a new activity here. Now the plan is to design a screen like this one. Yeah, this is the plan. So we will not have a search bar here anyway. We will be concentrating on the other part, the body part. We'll have then we will have the title, the year, runtime, Imdb rating, a synopsis or plot, then the director's name, cast name, etc. So you can use a constraint layout to build this, but for this example, I'm going to try out a different layout, a linear layout. Linear layout is it actually exists from the and initial version of Android release itself. You can try that. It is actually a new implementation. It has been there only for the last 2 or 3 years. It is a new linear layouts, relative layouts, frame layouts, etc. So I will just show you an example on how to create a linear layout. So let's start by adding a new activity. Okay. So for this particular screen, we had a hello world activity to show the hello when we click on the hello world button, we will open the hello. Okay, so I'm going to add a new activity there. A new activity and empty. Yeah, okay, fine. The name is relation activity. Okay, then we will start working on that. Okay, yeah, so now you know what is happening here. Now you have added one more activity. It will appear here very soon. Just give it a minute. The activity will appear here and the layout, new layout will appear here. Yeah, there's a typo. Yeah, that's it. That is now actually showing the new activity that I just added and the new layout XML file that we just added. Okay. Okay, so now let's start this movie recommendation activity from the main activity. That means from this main activity, let's start the newly added movie recommendation activity from this button click. Okay, so in the main activity, we have access the button hello for this from the layout. Yeah, from the layout, this is the hello world button, which is having the button hello world and calculator XML. Now the this third button, which is called button movie, that is the ID of this particular button. Okay, so let's access that button inside the code. Okay, so we will add a variable name val ptn movie. You can give a name, that doesn't matter. Equal to find view by ID. This is going to be a button type, and you can give .id.btn movie. Okay. BTN movie. Or set on click listener. BTN movie. Set on click listener. I can copy the same, copy paste the same code, just like I'm doing the same code in calculator example, because I'm going to use the same code to start the activity now. Okay, well, movie starting just mentioned here. Yeah, it actually started the new activity, the movie recommendation activity, but the layout doesn't have anything in it. That's why it is showing empty, the empty view. Okay, so let's start. Initially, I will show you what happens when you do when you insert a linear layout. So let's start. I'm going to add a linear layout here. So from layouts, you can have two types of layout: linear layout horizontal or linear layout vertical. I will just insert a linear layout and show you what happens. So if you insert a linear layout here, yeah, this is actually having a constraint layout. I will replace that with a linear layout. So you're going to linear layout. And when you add a linear layout, you have to specify something called the direction. not layout direction. No, it's not. Let me check. Okay. Let me add one and check it. I haven't used in a while. Yeah, orientation. That's the key. Okay. I haven't used this linear layout in a while. That's why I forgot it. Okay. Orientation should be specified. So I will show you what happens when I change the orientation. For the time being, I will give you horizontal, and I will add some more elements there. Okay. We will go to the design part. We will add some buttons there, just some random buttons. Okay. So here is button 1. Here is, and again, I am adding button 2. I'm adding text. I'm adding a text. So you see, when I specify horizontal, it actually spreads in a horizontal way. It is arranged in a horizontal way. That's what linear layout do. We don't have to specify any constraints. You just add a linear layout, and if you specify horizontal, it will arrange the elements in horizontal, arrange all the elements in separate columns, into separate columns. And if I change orientation to vertical, you can see what happens. So this is what happens. So button is now here, one second child is here. So everything is arranged into separate columns. So that is what happens. So we can use linear layout to build this particular layout, the entire screen layout. So first we have to identify what should be the layouts that we are using. So we can think of like this. This entire red should be a linear layout. This particular header part should be a child. This should be a child text. This should be another text. This should be another child. So in this case, the entire screen should be a linear layout with a vertical orientation. Then inside that, if you check the second, this particular header part, that is another linear layout which is having horizontal orientation. So this is the first child, this poster is the first child, and then this part is going to be the second child of that linear layout. And if you look at the second child, this is actually a different linear layout, which is a vertical linear layout. Inside that, we will have 4 texts. So that's what we are going to do. Let's do it. Okay. Okay, so I will do one thing. I will keep this screen here. It is always on top. I will keep it somewhere here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add each of the views. So at first, the entire screen should be a linear layout with a vertical orientation. Okay. So let me delete all the existing items there. Okay. So this particular linear layout, I already added a linear layout, which is specified by the red color in the outer side of the diagram. Okay. So that is added. Now I have to add a header part. So for the time being, I will add a text there. Okay. And I will add a name as header. Okay. Will increase the size just to have visibility. So in the later phase, we will replace that header part with another linear layout and other elements. Okay. So for the time being, I am just saying header there. Okay. So text size is 36 or 38 something. Yeah, 38 dp. It should be 38 dp. Yeah. Header. Okay. Now I am going to add the synopsis text. Okay. So this is a text view. I'm going to add it. So I can add a text view. Okay. So this text view is added, and let me increase the text size to something like 18. change the color to black. Yeah. And I will change the ID to txt synopsis or txt summary. Okay, this is fine. Now I will just place it dummy text there, summary. Okay. Now let me do one thing. I will add the text for director. Okay. So I added another row there. I will add a txt director label. That is actually label. We don't have to access this inside the application code. We have to update the value of this particular field, but we don't have to access this particular field. We don't need to change that because it is always the same. We are actually updating this text only, Steven Spielberg or Christopher Nolan or something like that. Okay. So now we have to make it a bold letter and change the text to director. Increase the font size. Yeah, 24. Text color to black. Okay. I had to add some margin there. Okay, so you can do the same with the code here as well. So if, just like yesterday, what we did, we edit the code within the XML, we can do the same with any layout that we are doing. Not only for constraint layout, for any layout, we can actually edit the XML as well. Okay, so this is a margin top should be some 32 dp. Okay, and I think implement the same style of layout. If you have done HTML, CSS, you are aware of CSS, cascading style sheets. You can define a style and apply that to different elements. I can do the same with in this case also, because this director text and cast text is going to have the same properties, the same text color, same margin, same text size, same text style. These things are going to be the same. So I can actually extract these properties into a style. So I will show you how to do that. I can actually do something called me and select all the properties which I want. So I don't need to access the width and height. I have to include the text color, margin, text size, text style into a separate style. So I will do one thing. I will I have to give a name to the style. I will give the name cinema screen label. Okay. Now you can see that there is a style defined and that style is applied to this particular element. Okay, let's go and see where that style applies. So if you go to the resource folder, value files, there you can see a new file styles.xml. So here you can define the styles. You can collect the properties and make it into a style, and you can apply that style into different elements. So in this case, I created a movie screen label style, a new style. This is like this is actually similar to the CSS class or CSS. Yeah, CSS class it is. So I define that text in this style. The text color should be black. The margin top should be 32 dp. The text size should be this much, and I can apply this style to any element here. Let's do one thing. Let's create another text. I will create below text view. I'm actually going to create the text forecast. Okay. and I'm going to apply the style so that I don't have to do everything again. So I'm going to create one. I'll give the size as match parent, height as wrap content, and text as cast, and so that's it. Now I have to apply the style. So without the style, you can see it will actually show in the default style. So it is a small text only. So now I'm going to apply the style to this particular field. Okay, style equal to that style. Yeah, what is the style name? Movie screen label. Movie screen label. Now you can see that style is applied here. So if there are similar elements, then you can extract that style into a separate class, a separate style, and you can apply that style to every other uh, element that you're using. Okay. So there is one more thing. Since you apply this style to all elements, you can easily change the properties. So if you want to change the color to something else, you can easily go here and change the color. You can either type it or just select it from here. So if you go back, that style is applied now. So that's one benefit. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to add the text Steven Spielberg. It should be between the director text and the cast text. So I will inside the XML, I will include that text here. I will add a text view with the match parent, height as a wrap content, and I will give you a text director's name. Okay, now that's it. Yeah, yeah, because all these three elements are having the same style. So let me do one thing. From the summary, I will copy the style. So here it is the text summary. So I have to extract these two styles. Okay, these two particular styles. So instead of extracting it, I will just go directly. I can use both ways. Either I can extract it or I can type them in manually. You can use whichever that you want to do. So movie screen label is there. Movie screen label value. And the styles that I want to copy are what text color should be black, text size should be 18 sp, text color should be black, and text size should be 18 sp. I don't have to use the margin top and text, so I don't have to use bold style there. Okay, now let's apply that style here. Instead of these two things, I will apply that style here. Style equal to style movie screen label. It should be movie screen label value. Yeah, this is style. And I can apply the same style to the director's name field as well. Yeah, done. And I can do the same with the cast as well. So I'm going to add a new text view here. Text view as parent. It should be wrap content. And text should be cast details. And I'm going to apply the style here. Okay, yeah, done. So that's it. So that's how you create and apply styles. Okay, now things are actually looking good. Okay, now let's run it and see what happens. Okay, so this is a this layout is being used in the movie recommendation activity. So when I start the movie recommendation activity, I should see this particular screen. Okay, let's run it. It is building and running. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It actually looks very similar. The font size should be a little bit less, I think. Yeah. This is fine. Usually when you have the designs, you know what size to use. It will specify the size, the font size to use. I'm not considering that now. If you have 18 SP specified here, you have to use the size here in your styles. Okay, you can update the style for that. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's update this header part. Okay, so instead of the header part, I can replace that with a linear layout which is having horizontal orientation. So I will write a pseudo code here. And inside that, actually, yeah, just linear layout horizontal. And inside that, you will have two children. One is the image view for the poster. And then you will have the second area where you write the terminal, the title, the year, on all these details. That should be another linear layout. So linear layout vertical should be the second child, and inside that linear layout you will have to add text view, text view, text view, text view, text view for the title, then the text view for the year. Yeah, you have to do the same for runtime, and this should be the layout that you are designing. Okay, so let's start doing that. Okay, so instead of that header text, I'm going to add a linear layout now. Linear layout with width should be match parent because it should be covering the entire width of the screen, and height should be wrap content, and orientation should be horizontal. Yeah, and inside that we are going to have two children. Okay, one is the image view. Okay, and the width is actually something like 200, I think 200 dp, and height should be something like let's give it 400 dp. Okay, let's see what happens there. Yeah, this is actually this much height. We don't have to use that. In normal designs, you will have the design dimensions specified. Yeah, this is actually good. This looks good. Okay. Yeah, I will actually reduce that to 150 and 200. Okay, this is fine. For yeah, that's the image view. For the time being, I will give an image there temporarily. SRC should be I will give a drawable. Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine. Now I have to add a second linear layout there. Instead of that, I'm just going to give a title only. Okay. We're just going to give a text, just like I did a header text previously. I'm going to give a text view here, which should be, so here you will see something else. Also, wrap content. and I will give it text title. Okay. Yeah. And let me give the font sizes. Text size is 25 SP. Color should be black. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so let's run it and see. Okay, fine. So you may wonder from where you get this image. It is actually coming from the image that already exists there. It is actually existing under the map folder. It is already there. You can see that. If you click it, you will see the icon there. Okay, you can actually download an image and insert that into this drawable folder, and you can use that. Okay. For the timing, yeah, I will do one thing. I will download an image. Okay. I will save the image. Yeah, I'm downloading the image. Please hold on. Okay, now I downloaded the image. Okay, let me copy the image and paste it in the folder. I copied the image. I will paste it inside the drawable folder. Let me paste it. Yeah, I will just paste it inside the drawable folder. Okay, now that is included in the application. Now let me how to move this thing. Okay, now let's include that. Let's include that image here. So I'm going to show that image here. Inside the SRC field, I can give a drawable terminal poster. Yeah, that's it. This is how you include an image into the application source code and include that in the UI. So let's run that now and see what happens. Yeah, this is it. So in when you're actually running the application, you have to either display the movie poster from your application, or you have to download. I mean, you have to access an image from the internet and display that in this image view. Okay. How do you move these things? Okay. Okay. Now let's continue. So now we have to include other details, other fields. the title, year, all these things. So all these things should be appearing inside a vertically oriented linear layout, just like we have figured it out. Okay, so I'm going to replace this text view. So I'm going to cut it. Then I'm going to include a linear layout there. Linear layout with match parent and wrap content as the height. Okay, now I'm going to give the orientation as vertical. Okay, inside that I'm going to give the text view. Okay, now the text title is there. I'm going to add another text view for the year. So here you can actually copy the styles if you want, if it is required. Okay, so wrap content, and that's it. The text should be something like year. Okay, the text size should I will do one thing. I will apply the same style that I used for the summary area to that particular one also. Okay, yeah, here is there. Now let me do one thing. Let me copy paste the same text field for the runtime. Okay, now there is a little bit margin, and then we have to show the IMDb rating. So I already copied that, so I will use it. IMDb rating. Okay, now I have to include some margin there. So margin top should be something like 32 dp. Yeah, this is good. Okay, now let's see. This summary should be having a little bit of margin from the top. So for the summary, I will add some margin. Margin top should be 8. Yeah, this is actually fine. Now let's run it and see what happens. This is there's an error. There is an error. It should be 8 dp. I didn't specify the unit. 8 dp. Yeah. Okay. Now let's run it. Yeah, now it is actually good, looking good. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's bring all these UI elements into the code, and let's update the values. Okay, so for that I have to give an ID to each and every element in this screen. So I have to give ID to title, year, runtime, IMDb rating, the poster, summary. These fields actually needs an ID because I am going to access them. I don't have to give an ID to director and cast labels because I'm not going to edit the labels anyway. I'm going to edit the values part only. Okay, so these are the fields that I have to update the ID. So first, let me update the I have to get rid of this part. Okay, let me update the ID. Okay, for this particular poster I can give an ID like IMG poster. This is good. And IMG title, no, TXT title, because it is a text view. You can actually give it in any format. Some people tend to give it like this, txt underscore year. So if you're following one particular format, then follow that format with every other layouts in this entire project. If you're sticking with txt underscore, then use that everywhere. If you're going to use txt title like that, then use that everywhere in that project. Don't mix up. Okay, I will give txt year. I will copy paste that. That's even faster. Okay, Then for the runtime, I will give txt runtime. Then for the IMDb rating, I will give txt rating. Then for the summary, yeah, it is already there. Txt summary is there. For the director's name, I will give txt direct to value or txt director as well. Then for the cast, I have to give an ID, txt cast. Okay. Now I have to get these access all these elements here in the code. Okay. So let me do one thing. I have to define these buttons just like how defined in the hello world activity. If you see, I have to define the variable first, then I have to access it. So here what I'm going to do is, in this particular case, I am actually defining this variable inside this on create. Actually, you should be creating it outside within the class. So I updated the calculator like this. So yesterday we were accessing, if yesterday we were defining like val button equal to find view by id. Then instead of doing that, you can actually put these define these variables inside this class as a field, the member or field variable of a class. Okay. Yesterday it was actually defined within the function. So if you define that within the function, it will be accessible only within that block. So here I am going to add this within the class as a child or a field of that class or member of that class. Okay, basically I have to get the IDs of all these elements. So I will do one thing. I will just copy from it here. Okay, I will copy paste. I will use the same name here. Okay. Where all these are going to be text views. Yeah. Text view should be imported. Okay. Now here is something else. In Kotlin, when you define a where, you have to initialize it with a value. So unless this on create is called, we don't know the values for this text field, or we cannot access these text views from the layout. First we have to set the content view. We have to load the XML file, then only we can access it. So until then we don't know the values. So we can give a keyword late in it. So that indicates that these are going to be variables, and these are not initialized at first. It will be initialized later. This is a particular feature in Kotlin. Okay. So these are the fields that I am going to use. Again, I will copy paste like this and write it all together to make it easy. View by id dot id dot, yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually, I don't have to access the label. I can get rid of this thing. Okay, that's good. Okay, now I can actually update update these values. Okay, now let me do one thing. I'm going to add a function for movie details. Okay, I'll give the title there. Okay, in this particular case, I'm going to update the title. Yeah, txt title should be updated. the title, the text value of the title should be updated equal to. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's add one button here, button somewhere here, okay, at the bottom. Then when the user clicks on that button, let's update the values here. Okay. So at the bottom of the last text view, cast details, I'm going to add one button there. Okay, button. Okay, I will do one thing. I will use the graphic interface. See, you can see the layout to the basic component tree here. Okay, I'm going to add a button here. Here comes the button. Yeah, I'm going to change the button to btn recommend. And I'm going to update recommend another movie. Yeah. So basically, when the user clicks on this button, you have to refresh it with a new, entirely new movie details. I will add some little bit margin on top of that. Okay. I will go to the split view. I will copy paste the code for margin. No, I can write it. Margin top B20. Actually, you have to measure it from the design. So whenever you are given the design, you can actually measure it from there. The distance can be measured. Each of these margins can be measured, and you can use the same value in the layout that you are designing. So in this case, I am actually giving some arbitrary values like 40, 50. Okay. Okay. Now let's take this button. Let's bring this button to the layout. I mean the Kotlin files. So button recommend. So here comes late init var btn recommend is a button type, and let's one thing you have to know that in Kotlin you have to import the classes just like we do hash include iostream.h or hash include conio.h in C or C++. You have to import the same class in Kotlin as well. So earlier I imported the text view class. Now I have to import the button class. So the ID, if there is a shortcut for that ID, you will import that for me. So now the ID has imported the class. Okay, now let's let's access the button from the layout. XML layout. So btn recommend equal to my ID dot recommend. Yeah, see the button. Okay, let's go when you click on the button. Let's go details. Okay, I'm going to yeah, I'm going to click on that button. It actually shows the text. Yeah, so that's working fine. So now what we are going to do is we will have a list of random movies, of 5 to 6 or more movies. Then we will show the random movies there. Whenever the user clicks on this button, we will show, we will pick one randomly and we will show that. Okay, for that we can do one thing. We can initialize an array, a text array. Val but I'm thinking of Jurassic Park. Titanic. Yeah, I'm actually going to pick a movie from this particular list. Okay, there are 5 movies. So I defined an array of movies. Okay, I'm going to pick one from there randomly. So movies dot ran. Yeah. Yeah, let me change that to list of. Okay, fine. Random. Yeah. So the list is having a function called random. It is a function that is available. So if you call random, it will actually pick a random item from this particular list. So we are calling this function. When we call this function, actually it will update the title text with the parameter that we gave. Okay, so it should be a random movie name. So that will be updated on the title text. So let's run it again and see. Yeah. So if I click on that, it will actually recommend a random movie. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is not the right way to do it. I'm just showing how we can achieve this by adding an array of movies and picking elements randomly. Now, the thing is, you have to update every field actually. Okay. So we can do one thing. We can create a class for that, a class movie, and we can save all the data there. Okay. So let's create a class for this, class for storing. So instead of just string, we are going to have a real class which contains all the movie details. Okay. Now let's update this later. Okay. Okay, I will do one thing. I will just add a new Kotlin file. Okay. Kotlin file and movie data.kt. That's a new file. Okay. Yeah, I can do one thing. I can create a create a new package. So I'm going to take it from here. Well, title should be there. It should be a string. Well, year should be there. Can be a string. Well, it should be having a runtime. Runtime. It's a string. Well, a rating should be a string. Then it should be showing a summary. Summary should be a string. Yeah. Then it should be capital S. Well, it should have a poster URL. The poster URL will be there. We have to load that URL from the internet, okay, and show it here. Okay, so then we can have Imdb rating. Well, Imdb rating should be a string. Then, well, yeah, a rating is already here, right? Yeah, let's get rid of that. Okay, director should be a string. Well, cast should be a string. Okay, so basically I will be showing all these data. So the entire screen of data is represented by a class. Okay, and this class will contain all the data, and we will now have an array of instead I'm going to have the entire array of this movies list equal to list of. Inside that, I am going to give a movie data object.
Sorry about that, guys. There's some technical issue with the speaker. He'll be back in a moment. Yeah, he'll be back in a moment. Can you just wait for a few minutes? The screen hasn't. We can't see the screen yet, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the connection is very slow. But now,
Your audio is cut off, sir. We didn't hear you say that. Yeah, sorry guys about this. There's some technical issues. We'll try to reconnect the speaker in a few moments. Also clear.
yeah, okay, fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually running on my UPS. I should last for at least 20 minutes. Yeah, let's see.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So, okay, let's continue. So basically I have to fill some movie data here. Okay. So I have to create some objects. So let's start with a movie object and fill it with some data. So I have to basically add many things here, all these fields. So instead of typing all these things, I already created a class for you. So I will just copy paste that for you. Okay. I already created a class and I already prepared all the lists. Okay. So it is having around 50 movies there. Yeah. Okay. Now I have the list of movies here. Now I am going to pick a random movie from this particular list and I'm going to show that. Okay. Let's go back to the movie recommendation activity here. I'm going to update this particular field like this. It's a movie and of type movie. So instead of the title, I'm going to show the movie dot title. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now let me share. Let me pick a random movie from the list. Movies. Dot. Yeah. What was the name of that? Yeah. It should be a list of. Okay. You cannot pick a random item from you can actually pick a random items from a list. Okay, random. Yeah. Now let me run the application. Okay. Yeah. Now it's actually updating. So I have to update every other field. Okay. Now let me update other fields as well. So let me copy all these fields. Copy, paste. I have to update the value of all these fields by the field, the relevant field from the movie object that I am passing. Movie dot. This should be year. This should be runtime. This should be rating. This should be summary. No, I think the field name is plot. Yeah, in the new, yeah, it is plot. Now the director name and cast name. Okay, cast details. It's well done. Let's run it again now and see what happens. Movie recommendation example. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, actually, the problem is button is it actually went down because of the size of this item. So let's do one thing. I will put everything inside a scroll view. Okay. Let's go back to the I can click the button because the button is actually it went down. Okay. Let me put this entire item inside, or let me put this particular area inside. Yeah, first let's cover the entire item. So first I will add a scroll view here. So let me add it from here. It should be somewhere here. Yeah, the horizontal scroll view, the scroll view is here. Let me add it somewhere here. Okay. And let me see what the code looks like. It should be a scroll view like this, and it should be having a linear layout as the child. So basically I will have a scroll view here, and inside that I will place the I will do one thing. I will cover the entire linear layout inside a scroll view. Okay. So I will copy paste the code instead of typing everything myself. Okay, I will then I will close it. Then I will copy and paste the entire linear layout from here, the entire screen from here to here. Okay, done. And basically for the XML, you have to include a little bit data there. So that was missing. Yeah, now everything is clear now. So basically, if you look at the design now, everything is actually inside a scroll view. So if you look at the scroll view component tree, so everything is inside a scroll view, and inside that there is a linear layout. Inside the linear layout, we have other elements. So let's run it. Let's look at the device. Okay, yeah, it's now moving. Okay, so it is actually displaying the data. Recommend me another movie. It's actually recommending the data. It's actually working fine as expected. Okay, now I will show you the
Hello, sir.
Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, yeah, sorry everyone. There was an unexpected power failure. Okay, now okay, let's continue. So now we are actually using a class and a movie data class and a list of objects. I prepared this list earlier, so to save time. Okay, now I'm actually having a list of movies, and from that movies list, I am picking a random movie, a random object, and I'm showing the details of random object inside the show details function. I am actually uh, taking that movie object and extracting the data from each of that object and showing it to the text fields that I have. Okay, yeah, let me open this open the app now. Yeah, so and we changed the layout or root layout into a scroll view so that you can actually scroll and see the button there. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to update this image view. Okay, so we already have the URL of this uh, movie. So I will show you that. If you look at the fields that I added, there is a separate field for the poster URL. So it is actually an image. So I will show you an example. So this is the poster of Tenet. Okay, uh, let me load that. So this is the data that we are having. So for each of the movie data, we are actually having the poster details. Okay, so we are actually going to use that for loading the URL into an image view, your image from a remote into an image view. There is a good library called Glide. So I'm going to use that library here. So by this, I am actually showing you how to include an external library. So this is what we are doing. So you will have the documentation inside the documentation. You will be having the basic information on how to add a dependency. Okay. So these two lines should be added, and we are going to copy these two dependency lines, and we are going to include those lines into the Gradle file that we have. So if you look at here, you can see that there is a project Gradle file. There are two Gradle files. One is for the project and one is for the module. So this is actually a configuration file for the entire project. Okay. So Sharon, if you stop drawing on my screen, that will be good. Okay. So this is the file for actually the entire project. Okay, the entire module. So inside that there is something called dependencies. So I'm going to paste that line into this area, and I'm going to uh, download the dependency. This dependency is actually coming from the online repository where they are hosting this data. Okay, I'm going to sync it. So basically it is downloading the Glide library from there, and we are going to use that library. So if you look at the documentation, they will have the guide to how to uh, use this component. Okay, so basically inside the documentation, they are saying like you'll be having an image view, and you have to use the Glide library like this. Glide with this will be the activity that we are running, and load the URL into the image view. This is the syntax that we have to follow. I will do one thing. We already have the reference to the image view. How to remove these lines? Yeah, is there any way to remove these lines from my screen? Are you seeing that? Okay, yeah, I'm going to copy the code. Okay, now I'm going to the movie recommendation activity. Inside that activity, I'm going to paste the code. I'm going to import the Glide library with this and with this and into the image view that we have to access the image view now. Okay. Yeah. IMG poster is the image view, the idea of that image view. Okay. Now let's import that. Late init var image view. This is an image view object. Okay. And what is the image view? Equal to find view by id dot mg poster. Okay. Now we can load that into this particular image view. Okay. This particular image view should be there, and the URL should be coming from the movie. The movie class is actually having a field like poster URL, so we can use that. Okay. Movie object dot poster URL. Okay. Now let's run and see what is happening there. Okay, now let me load the data. So the image should be showing up now. Why is it not showing up? Let me check if there are any log information there. There are too many information. Okay. First, I have to give internet permission to the app. Okay. So inside the Android manifest, yesterday we discussed what is going on with the Android manifest. So there you have to give something like users permission, and there is internet permission there. Okay. Now let's run the application again. Yeah, now it's coming. So it is actually basically loading these data from this poster from the given URL. So it was actually missing the internet permission. So I gave the internet permission inside the manifest file. So now it can access the internet. So it is now showing the data. Okay. Yeah, it is pretty fast actually. So it is basically recommending some random movies. So we can go back. Yeah, when we actually come to the screen for the first time, it should actually showing a valid movie. So let's update. So when we actually create when we open an activity, the on create function will be executed. So inside that on create function, I can actually call a function like show movie details. Again, from the movies list, I will choose a random movie and I will show that. Okay, let's run the application now. Yeah, now instead of showing the placeholder text, it is actually showing a valid movie. And I can actually click on the recommend another button. It will load a random movie details and load the poster from the internet. If I go back and come again, it will again show a random movie title, random movie details. Yeah. So yeah, for the rating part, there should be IMDb rating. It is actually showing the parental rating. We were actually discussing about that before the power failure. Okay, let's update this particular part. This should be the TXT rating value. So it should be showing something other. So let me check. It should be IMDb rating. Yeah. So we have to update this IMDb rating. In our design, it was having something like IMDb, then 7.4 out of 10. So let's do this thing. Actually, every editor is having a feature called multi-line editing. VS Code is having that. Android Studio has that. So basically, it actually differs from the operating system to operating system. Usually, you press the Alt button, or in some editor, you have to press the Control and Alt button together when you are dragging or editing. So by pressing these buttons together, you can check online for the relevant shortcut for the editor. So most of the time it will be Alt or Alt and Shift together or Alt and Control together. When you are clicking somewhere, you will see multiple cursors. It is called multiple editing or multiple cursor. Every editor is having that. Okay. Yeah, basically I can lose power anytime I'm again running on UPS. So if I'm getting disconnected, and I will share the source code and you can share it with them. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I think we can wrap the session right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is fine.
So, sir, is there anything that you'd like to tell the participants before we finish our study jams right now?
Yeah, if you are interested in mobile development, then Android application development is a good point to start. For iOS development, if you're interested in iOS development, you will need to get hands on a Mac machine. But in case of Android, you can use a Linux machine or Windows machine. And this is actually a good area because most of the users are now moving on to mobile platforms. There is actually a very uh, uh, good career opportunity for mobile application developers. I'm actually a mobile application developer. have been working on the mobile platform for the last 10 years. So there is an increasing opportunity for mobile developers, be it iOS or Android or cross-platform, things like that. So if you have interest in mobile application development, then you can definitely start looking into Android application development. You can start learning. These are actually just a tip of the iceberg only. There is much more to learn. So that's it. All the best. So if you have any questions, then you can contact me on LinkedIn or by mail. Uh, yeah, that's it. So all the best, everyone.
All right. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, for attending the sessions. So this is the end of the Android study jams conducted by DSC CET and DSC UCK. We'll be having subsequent sessions in a few minutes. We'll share the details with you subsequently. And the project code for today's session and the session conducted by Vishnu sir yesterday will be shared with you, with all the participants. So that's it, guys. Thank you for coming. Hope you guys had a fun time during these sessions. So see you again later. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Anand.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.